Hey everybody, it's Manga Mike here, back with another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what is an art style. So I feel like this is going to be a short video by the way, but I feel like art style is something that people either don't understand really, or they overemphasize. So with the overemphasizing, let's start there. I'm sure a lot of you know who Crilly is. If I were to think about what his art style is, my brain immediately goes to his style in Brody's Ghost, but he draws in so many different styles that it doesn't really, that's not even really what fits for him, right? He has several books that he's created, and series that he's created, that the style ranges from like semi-realistic all the way down to like extraordinarily cartoony, and like Akiko, for instance. And all of them are successful. So that is a strong indication that style doesn't matter that much, right? What actually matters is whether or not you're able to consistently represent the style that you've created throughout your comic. Obviously, like Bleach, for instance, Tite Kubo's art style got better over time and it changed over time. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, are you able to draw something from start to finish and make it look consistently good, right? In a way that feels right within the story, and in a way that's going to resonate with the viewers. So before I go too far with that, because I will get carried away, I do want to read to you my definition of what an art style is, and then I'm going to give an example that's not art related, and then break down that definition. So, an art style is the creative choices that people make when drawing specific parts of characters, environments, animals, props, and other miscellaneous things. So, let's look a little bit at music as an example. So, in the music industry, people have specific styles. You can immediately recognize the voice of people that you enjoy very quickly, right? Even if they're just featured in a song, you're like, oh, is that Lil Wayne, right? So you're able to immediately recognize specific artists. So let's look at like a case study of an artist. One of my favorite artists who's pretty famous is The Weeknd, right? A lot of people say that The Weeknd's art style resembles a lot of like the 80s and 90s music we had growing up, the pop music, maybe even the 70s, of like Michael Jackson and Prince and things of that nature, right? But let me ask you this question, and this actually directly correlates with my definition. Do you think that his music would be successful if he didn't know the fundamentals of creating a song? If he didn't know the fundamentals of music in general? What if he couldn't hit notes, or didn't know how to hit notes, specific notes? What if he didn't know which notes actually blended well together, right? The answer to that question is no, he wouldn't be famous and nobody would listen to him, because just because you have a specific style that's probably messy if he was to create a style without the fundamentals, that doesn't mean people are going to listen to what you have. The same is true of art, and that's the first part of my definition. A creative choice. A creative choice isn't just you picking up a pencil and drawing something for the first time and saying, there it is, that's my style, I'm going with that, right? A creative choice is you knowing, and I know a lot of people are about to leave the video, but bear with me, I'm gonna give an example in a second, but you knowing how to draw said thing by looking at it and observing it and drawing it in a way that is instantaneously recognizable as that object. So what I'm talking about is, you can draw something in a semi-realistic way that makes sense for everybody else, right? So I'm going to put up an example above. I'm sure a lot of people just left the video if you haven't already. But I'm going to put up an example above of what I mean by that. And it's a portrait that I did of Will Smith not too long ago. It's not perfect, right? But if you look at just this without the actual picture or portrait of Will Smith that was taken, you would say, oh, that looks like Will Smith. That's enough, right? You're good there. You don't have to be able to realistically shade or anything of that nature. You just have to be able to do that specific thing, right? And at that point, you probably have strong enough fundamentals to be able to move on. Obviously, you have to be able to shade, you have to be able to draw things with with volume and structure and things like that. I can maybe make a video on just the fundamentals in a later video, but you want to be able to do those things in order to make creative choices, which is what your style is. So, like for instance, one of the definitions or one of the things that I hate that people say when you're trying to develop your style, and you're a younger artist, not in age but in experience, and people are just like, oh yeah, you just want to look at different ways that artists that you like draw specific things, and you want to throw them together, and then you can, that's your style, right? Well, you can do that, and it's good to do that once you have the fundamentals down, because if you don't, then what happens when you try to draw the face in that style that you created in a different angle, right? It's going to look sloppy and inconsistent, and then you're going to be like, man, why does this look weird? Or if you're not experienced enough, you're just going to be like, oh, that's great, and you're going to go, and people are going to be like, wow, this looks messy, right? That's why I don't like that definition. There is validity in that though, right? You can do that. Like if you're able to do what I showed you before, yeah, you can start to pick and pull from specific styles and say, oh man, this is how Akira Toriyama treated the nose, right? Or this is how Boichi treated the eyes, for instance, which is what I'm doing currently actually for my manga. I looked at how Boichi treated his eyes because I really like that style, and I looked at like, oh, this is how he did the upper eyelid, the lower eyelid. This is the angle that he had from the corners of the eyes and the shape of the eyes that he used. Is it more square, or is it like a diamond shape, or is it neither one of those? Is it triangular shaped? What is it, right? All of those things are important to know as you're going into it, because you don't want to just draw it the exact same way as another artist. You want to be able to see, oh, these are the choices that they made in order to make this look more aesthetically pleasing. So what can I take from that and put into my own artwork, right? So that is all super important. So let's go into the second part of this that's really important too. It's going to be hard for a lot of people to hear. Your art style is also going to have to be expanded upon as far as whether or not you can draw specific objects semi-realistically, right? So, for instance, if you have a fantasy-style comic, you're going to have to be able to draw swords, armor, horses maybe, all those, maybe magic if it's like that kind of fantasy. You're going to have to be able to draw all of those things in a way that looks somewhat realistic. I mean, magic obviously is its own thing, but all the other stuff, you're going to have to be able to draw those things semi-realistically and then accentuate from that and maybe pull from other people's styles after you can do that in order to be able to create things that feel right for everybody else as they're viewing them. So that's really about all I had on this. It's a very short video. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually not feeling well again, and I've just had a long week, but I do hope that this video is helpful. I have been thinking about doing this video for quite some time. Hopefully it also eases your anxiety about finding an art style too. I don't know if I said this earlier, but if your fundamentals are good enough, you can actually replicate any style you want. So it's something that you can put on the back burner for now, even though it always feels important. Put it on the back burner for now, work on your fundamentals, and then come back to it, And then after you do that, if you have like specific projects you want to do and you don't like the style that you started with, cool, switch to another style. It's fine. But anyways, I do hope that this video was helpful and hopefully it clarified some things for you. If you disagree with me, which I'm sure a lot of people do, tell me in the comments below, right? Or if you have any questions, concerns, or whatever, tell me in the comments below. I'll get to them as quickly as I can. Alright, I'm Manga Mike, and I'm out.